mean, Sefrin's also been talking, Danny, about players who head to Saudi Arabia to grow the game. And, of course, Jordan Henderson fell into that category. He's gone out there to try and do his bit for the Saudi Pro League, had a look, and then further down the line, a lot sooner than anyone expected, said thanks but no thanks and came back. Now he's at Ajax. Sefrin says regards players heading to Saudi Arabia to, quote, grow the game. They go because the contracts are big. You can't blame them for that. He says if they're close to the end of their career, maybe it's a new adventure and they earn a lot of money. I don't blame them, but to say that you're going somewhere to help or grow the game is pretty much more or less a joke.
I think he's
not wrong, is he?
He's only saying what everyone else thinks. Fair play to him, yeah. It does show a bit of gumption. I think it's hard sometimes as a player to come out and state the bloody obvious, because you're leaving yourself wide open, and also there's an employer who's filling your pockets, who's asking you to share a different narrative. So I do get it that they don't just blatantly come out and go, look, I'm only here for the money. You have to be delicate with it, a bit like the live golfers. Some of them are more delicate than others with how they frame it.
Yeah,
but Sefrin's right, isn't he? He's right.
Maybe it's a different episode, Simon, in my career, but keep the grow the game bit out of the narrative, because nobody believes you.
But that is the narrative that they're being asked to peddle. And, you're buying somebody, you're buying the player, and you expect him to do as he's told. And within that narrative is the idea that you're going to grow the game.
I think Ronaldo's one of the only few who could come out and actually talk about it. He's got him being there exposes other people
Ronaldo
to
went
the
for,
league.
Yes.
I mean, Piers Morgan broke this story, and I disagreed with the principles of it. Fundamentally, the bulk of it he was right on. £200 million. He went to Saudi for £200 million, or give or take it, right? That's not because he's going to grow the game. If he was going for £5 million, he wouldn't. Fine, that's a byproduct of it, right? Yeah. But that's not his motivation. And it's interesting to see someone in a position of influence not interested in diplomacy, because we often see what we believe to be...
You're talking about Sefrin now?
Yeah, Sefrin. Yeah. Not interested in the player's perspective, because most of the time what comes out of players' mouths is absolute drivel. But in this instance, he's in a position of influence, and diplomacy is often played out. So this plays well into the narrative. It doesn't read well for the Saudis, because it tells you that he has a bit of disdain for the idea that all you're going to be able to do is buy it. That should give people confidence and comfort. We'll see. When it comes to the Saudis going to UEFA and saying we're going to throw a ton of money into a competition which we want you to comply with, or allow us access to.
Yeah.
What this should do is build a bit of confidence that the concern that people feel is that the Saudis will disrupt the ecosystem and land at the top table and continue to be there, irrespective of everyone else being governed by financial fair play. This should tell you something, that Sefrin's put a flag down in the ground, that he sees the players' motivations, he doesn't think it's the right thing for them to be saying, he recognises the landscape, and hopefully he'll hold court and order when we get this inevitable situation that the Western media perceive it to be, that Saudi football's going to dominate and be at the top table and disrupt.
Well, Sefrin's also saying Saudi Arabia will never host a Champions League final. You can forget that.
Well,
according to him,
as Simon said, the flag's in the flag.
Well, he's put a flag down.
Yeah,
and that's good to hear and good to see, because
people change their mind though.
And yet, the poster boy Ronaldo said the other day that it now rivals or is ahead of the French Ligue 1. And the Saudis loved that.
Has he played there then?
The Saudis loved that.
No.
Has he played there then? So he really doesn't know then. I mean, this is the same guy that told everybody on Piers Morgan's interview that he was marginalised out by the management of Man United and hadn't even met them. I take no notice of what Ronaldo says in terms of talk to him about the beauty of his play and his achievements. But he hasn't played in the French league, so I don't understand what that's about. And I imagine PSG and Lille and Nice and all those other sides would look at the 700 people watching a Saudi game and I think that's quite laughable.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.